Hi, I'm Jacob from Control Byte Automation, and today I will show you how a star-delta starting method for a three-phase induction motor works. Let's get started. Before we start, hit the like button and subscribe to Control Byte Automation YouTube channel.
The heart of our system will be the Finder OPTA programmable logic controller. Using this controller, we will operate contactors in a classic star-delta motor starter configuration: the main contactor, the star contactor, and the delta contactor.
A few moments later.
Let's start with the schematic. You are looking at the star-delta starter schematic for a three-phase induction motor. In our case, we will use components that allow us to connect a motor with a maximum power of 5.5 kilowatts. Take a look. This motor has 6 winding terminals and 1 protective PE connection. The winding terminals are connected to a 4x1 terminal block, and from there the contactors will switch the appropriate windings, connecting them either in star or in delta. At the very top, you can see the motor protection circuit breaker 4Q1, which provides short circuit and overload protection for the motor. On the right side, you can see how individual components are connected to the Finder OPTA programmable logic controller, with input channels at the top and output channels at the bottom. This includes elements such as the start/stop push buttons, feedback monitoring from auxiliary contacts, for example, from the motor protection breaker or the contactors. The output channels of the Finder OPTA controller will be connected to contactor 4K1, the main contactor, 4K2, the delta contactor, and 4K3, the star contactor. Finally, we have the indicator lamps and the illuminated start-stop push buttons, which inform us about the current state of the program. Okay, now you know what the schematic looks like. So let's move on to assembling the test board. We start with the Finder OPTA controller running Codesys. We will use one expansion module with transistor outputs so we can control the contactors, whose coils are rated for 24 volts direct current. We begin with the power supply section for the controller logic and the expansion module. Next, in the transistor module, each output channel must be powered individually by connecting a plus 24 volt potential to the plus terminals of each channel. Now let's move on to the input signals. We'll start with the control panel. Here we will connect the start and stop push buttons and at the same time provide power for the backlighting of those buttons, meaning 2 LED diodes, one green and one red. Okay, the control panel is ready. Now let's move on to the contactors. First, between contactor 4K2 and contactor 4K3, we need to install a mechanical interlock. This prevents both contactors from being activated at the same time. Alright, the contactors are now mounted on the DIN rail. Next, we connect the feedback signals from the auxiliary contacts of our contactors. Thanks to this, the programmable logic controller will always know the current state of each contactor. It will also be able to detect emergency situations, such as welded contacts or a mechanical jam. Great, we have successfully wired all the control signals. Now we move on to wiring the power circuits. We start with the motor protection breaker. We connect it to the main contactor 4K1. Next, we make a jumper between contactor 4K1 and contactor 4K2. Now let's make the connections for contactor 4K3. In the next step, we create a jumper between contactor 4K3 and contactor 4K2. And finally, the last wires, the connection of bus bar 4X1 to contactor 4K1 and to contactor 4K2. Before we move on to the tests, let's first make a quick printout of the labels for the devices and for the terminal blocks. Now let's start connecting the fan motor to our test board and powering up the entire system. Alright, let's begin with the motor. Here you can see the nameplate with all the motor's technical data. One key piece of information is the supply voltage, 460 volts. This means that when powered from a 3-phase 400-volt system, the windings of this motor can be connected either in a star configuration or in a delta configuration. The next important parameter is the motor current, 7.4 amperes. We will use this value to correctly adjust our motor protection breaker, which protects the motor against overload. What does the terminal box of this motor look like? Each of the UVW windings has 2 terminals. These terminals are usually labeled, for example, U1 and U2. All of them are connected to the terminal block inside the junction box. By default, inside this junction box, you can bridge the windings to connect them in either star or delta. But in our setup, the star-delta switching will be done from our test panel or from the control cabinet. In that case, each of the winding terminals must be brought out using a 6-core cable plus the protective earth to the control system. In our case, this is our test board. The motor windings will be connected according to the diagram to the terminal block 4X1 into their respective terminals. Now let's see how the system works in action. When we press the start button, the first step will be activating contactor 4K1 and contactor 4K3, which will connect the motor windings in the star configuration. After a programmed time delay inside the Finder OPTA programmable logic controller, contactor 4K3 will switch off and contactor 4K2 will switch on, connecting the windings in delta. Let's verify that everything works. I'm pressing the start button. As you can see, the system works perfectly. And here are some advantages of using a programmable controller for a star-delta starter and for monitoring the motor's operation. The first advantage is the supervision and error monitoring for each device. For example, if the motor protection breaker trips, the system reports an error. We need to reset it before restarting our fan. Each contactor is monitored by checking the signal from its normally closed mirror contact. If a contactor becomes welded or turns on when the controller is not sending a high signal to its coil, the controller immediately detects this and reports a fault. Additionally, the controller can monitor various parameters such as motor runtime, number of switching cycles, and the condition of components like contactors. This allows you to detect wear on these components before a failure occurs and before the entire system comes to a stop. Let's take a look at how the program looks inside the programmable logic controller in the Codesys environment. As you can see, I'm currently online and I can easily perform debugging of the program state. After powering up the system, I can clearly see which variables are in the true state and which are false. And thanks to that, I can quickly analyze how my program is operating.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Remember to hit the like button under this video and subscribe to Control by Automation YouTube channel. See you soon.